Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Libra September 2024 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel St. James Clairvoyant. Well, this month we have a deck which is full of beautiful artwork. It's called the Marielle deck. You might be familiar with it. Look, it is still, in my humble opinion, up in the top 3 of beautiful decks concerning its artworks. What I like about it particularly, though, for me, is that it says different things at different times, and it allows very abstract information to be beautifully expressed. It says different things and has different angles at which it attaches to things. And so it's always refreshing, it's always exciting, it's always good, and it's always new as a result. Now, you know that I provide clairvoyant readings to people from all over the world over FaceTime and Skype. And if you might be interested to see what's involved in that, just check out the information that's in the description. Now, the other spiritual gift that I was provided with at birth is the gift of healing. Now, the healing comes through me and not from me, as you would understand. And the gift was provided on the basis that I must perform it to people who ask for it, and I must get nothing in return. So it's offered for free. There's no obligation, there's no expectation, there's no catch. You won't be talked into anything. You won't be talked into having a reading with me. You won't be suggested to acquire anything from me or from anybody else. Now, there might be some emotional, there could be some physical issue with you. You might just be at your wit's end about something. Work might be driving you mad. Look, if this speaks to you, then I would encourage you, don't be shy. Reach out to me. I set time aside each day for healings. And I've been doing it, well, I've been doing it for longer than I care to remember, probably well before you were even born. Now, there are no video, so the information about that is in the description as well. Now, there are no video advertisements breaking their way into this content, and so you get to enjoy the experience uninterrupted. Now, these cards have a lot to say to us, I think, as I mentioned, so I'm going to take 5 and show me the magic. 5 of Cups. Beautiful, beautiful thing there. The Moon. What's coming from in here somewhere, shall we, huh? Have a look. The 6 of Swords right in the middle of your thing there, and that also is an exquisite piece of art in my humble opinion. There is, a very exotic looking devil. And finally, let's take this, which is what? It is. Well, you can't go wrong with this. This is the Empress. Now, why don't I bring the camera around so that you and I can have a good close look at the artwork on these cards while the cosmic energies swirl, and I'll do the reading for you. Fascinating spread of cards. I'm getting this moon here. It's like a testing time. I'm getting the feeling of repressed feelings, the burning off of karma, probably to do with some disappointment here, but there's a tremendous healing and success. Almost like a spiritual awakening for you, and then onwards to success, abundance, fulfilling ambition, and doing well. Let's have a look at this Moon card first, shall we? It looks unusual to me, this energy. What's coming up here? Well, the Moon, very interesting. It's, as I say, there is a point here where you may have found out that you made a wrong turn somewhere, probably in relation to something that's disappointed you, I think. We'll get to that in just a second. It's an illusion. There's a situation around where you really want to ask yourself, is it a reality or is it an illusion here. Great sense of pulling things up from the subconscious here. Probably emotional things, I think. Burning off of karma, but in a good way for you. But there's a threshold here to a new level of consciousness, which is going to bring you comfort, even though there could be, in the intervening period, something of a lack of clarity or a degree of confusion or something. This is suggesting a time when something is not as it appears to be, a situation which is deceiving. You might actually even feel lost in life or unsure about what is the right way to go, kind of lost in the darkness. But I think this is particularly relating to your shadow self, the subconscious or hidden self here, emotions which may be being repressed and which should be shown when anything like this comes through here. Sometimes there's feelings from childhood that have been repressed and they could have a negative impact on the current situation. They often do, you know. Now, things need to be validated and wept for, because what the heart does not weep for, the body and the mind inevitably does at one time. Repressed feelings is what I'm getting here. Look, there is no great reward for being emotionally withdrawn. There's no pity prize for bottling your frustration. There's nobody coming to congratulate your constant self-repression. Now, by opening up, maybe you will inconvenience some people. Maybe you will trigger some conflict. Maybe you will be rejected or criticized or judged. Well, everything comes with a price, but everything also has its compensation as well. The real you, authentic you, that's the thing. Living an authentic life. Now that sometimes requires pain, which is normal, but it opens the doors to joy, to creativity, to self-respect, and to empathy. Now, self-repression, on the other hand, well, it costs you all the beauty of the world in exchange for a prison of comfort. Is that really worth it? Isn't it time to break free? Now, that's definitely the case, I think, that now you have heard the call of the unknown. You might uncover some sort of a secret here as well. You may uncover a deception. There's a deceptive situation that may be around you. But you are on the threshold of new experience. Now, pay attention to the voice of your heart and scrutinize, check out calmly and carefully what offers of assistance and guidance you might receive from other people. Just be aware of whether there's any hidden motive. I think this is also asking you to now ask yourself, what inner regions feel strange or alien or unknown to you? Where are your blind spots? And what experiences are you most afraid of? Sometimes we can go through dark times. Don't be afraid of darkness. You've seen it before, and you own it. Embrace it and say, I have conquered you before, and I will do so again. Because, and say this, I enjoy making important decisions. I value honesty and integrity in relationships. I like what's mysterious within me, and I don't mind what's mysterious within other people. I express myself fully and openly, just like the moon. And through choice that I make, I can always change my experience, and if I do feel that there is some darkness around, then I know even at midnight the sun will rise at dawn, and that it is always darkest just before the dawn. Now, as far as karma is concerned, because there's a lot of this coming through here as well, look, your faith is your conscience, and your conscience is your faith. You can't have faith without a conscience, but you can have a conscience without faith. You see, we were designed to be good with or without religion. Yet the challenge for many of us, of course, is staying good. Now, we all know of some people who claim to be religious, but they really don't have any conscience. While some people, without religion, they're very much aware of their conscience. So a religious label does not define your character or validate your worth. In the end, all of us are going to be judged by the amount of truth in us and the weight of our hearts. Now, the heavier the conscience, the heavier the truth. The lighter the heart, the higher, the further it goes. And the only spiritual cash, the only spiritual money that we have in the afterlife is amassed in the form of light, in that the amount that you have depends on the weight of your words and deeds while alive. Conscience is everything. Conscience is what connects you to the truth and the light of the highest power source of all, God, the cosmic heart of the universe. Now, maybe that feeling unknown, that secret that you have uncovered, that situation that was deceptive is one that you found out here, and it's depicted by this. Now, the astrology here is interesting. It's Mars in Scorpio, but I have Mars associated with the number 5 as well. Now, normally Mars would be great because Mars is in Scorpio, because Mars is the ruler of Scorpio, but with the extra fire that's here, with the number 5, the added energy evaporates all the emotions of Mars. So there's some unfulfilled expectation, a loss of a sense of balance, problematic relationship, perhaps an unexpected disturbance. It might be that you are looking at yourself and saying, how could I have been so wrong about a particular person or a particular situation? Well, look, life goes on. Don't wallow in it. I'll tell you an interesting story. There's a woman that I know who has told me this, roughly, that she says, I have a history of making decisions very quickly about men. I have always fallen in love fast and without measuring the risks. I have a tendency not only to see the best in everyone, but to assume that everyone is emotionally capable of reaching his highest potential. And she said that she had fallen in love more times than she cares to count, but fallen in love with the highest potential of a man, rather than with the man himself. And she says, I have hung on to that relationship for a long time, sometimes far too long, waiting for the man to rise up to his own greatness. Many times in romance, I have been a victim of my own optimism. Now, maybe there's a situation here for you where expectations were much too big. Some unexpected event, maybe just a thoughtless reaction has ruined them abruptly. But the aggressive Mars energy here dominating the scene, it's talking to me about something that's probably been smoldering beneath the surface for a long time. You've overlooked it, I think, because you probably didn't want to admit to its existence, and you ignored the warnings of your inner voice. But now, sadly, you have to face the sobering facts and look them in the eye. But be aware that every disappointment contains within it an important learning experience. But the danger is that you can become disillusioned with your life and your future that's ahead of you. You could be disappointed about someone's actions. Well, look, you may not find it in your heart to forgive them, but at least forget them. Most of all, don't let this disappointment turn into fear of taking another risk, or of making an effort in the future, or of hiding away in some place where you can't be disappointed again. You see, I think that some much too high expectation of yours has been crushed, and somewhere deep inside you lurks the fear of disappointment. Well, now is a good time to learn from this. And in what areas of life do you feel disappointment? What have you learned from disappointments to date? Say this to yourself: I get to know my own reality by learning to see where I fool myself or when I deny my inner voice. But I want to continue on down this diagonal, I think. Now, this cavalry is here in the form of Raphael. Raphael is the archangel of healing and making things go well for you. Now, this is Mercury ruling the second decan of Aquarius. Well, the air planet of Mercury, that flighty planet, it finds itself in the fixed sign of air. And what we have here is that the intellectual qualities around here are highlighted. Aquarius can be quite detached and intellectual by nature. And Mercury, of course, is the embodiment of intellect and communication, and of the ability to analyze things and bring to you a clear perspective going forward. So I think what this is suggesting is that there needs to be a somewhat detached but balanced assessment of a situation. And you need to analyze the thing without bias or too much emotion as well. You do now have really an all-encompassing vision as to what is going on, and an all-embracing understanding here. You see, Mercury is one of the greatest gifts for Aquarius. Mercury's ability to analyze things brings clarity to perspectives on the future. And I think that you see those things, and not only do you recognize, but you also work out how to use them, how to communicate things. And your most varied ideas and visions are going to come together in one place, which is going to allow you a great vision, and allow now the rose of realization to blossom within you. Now, this is an intellectual clarity which has come about as a result of difficult experiences, even though they're temporary, really, here. But other than that, I would say that you have grown through some tough times, but you see, you have a handle on life, and you can now make smart decisions that benefit you. There's a greater awareness now to your thinking and to your actions. I think there's also here possibly that there's a situation that you hadn't actually been able to get to grips with. You now make decisions about it. You're thinking out a better approach, because you have the ability to see things on different levels and from different angles. Now, where are and what are the ruts in your life, in your relationships in particular? Trust your insight and communicate in a way others will understand. And do allow that rose to unfold, and say to yourself, the rose of recognition blossoms in my heart. Then we come down here to the Empress, and this is so good for you. Gee, I'm getting a lot of spiritual information that's coming through to you to help you along. She's the daughter of the mighty ones, of course, this thing here. Now, I do see pregnancy around here, and of you being in touch with the beauty of your life. Now, perhaps you will be exploring a relationship with your mother, or as a mother exploring a relationship with children. There is a wisdom here, And this tree here is really speaking to me. There's a connection between upper roots here, between spirit, and down here in the roots in matter. I don't know what that means, an inner and outer wealth. A lot of fertility about here. Fertility both for ideas but also for pregnancy. But I see here that there is the fulfillment of your potential that's going on here. Now, as an empress, of course, she has a lot of things going for her. She embodies the feminine in all of its forms. And her form, her body, the surroundings, well, they're all marked by beauty and wholeness, aren't they? I think you feel a sense of well-being in her presence. And her beauty isn't only restricted to the outside, you know, because her femininity is fully evolved on all levels of her being, which gives her a special radiance. This is a time when you are going to be very attractive to other people, because she is not just a mother, she's also a lover. And she's a ruler and perhaps even a witch or a shaman at the same time. And this strength comes from unifying the highest spiritual values in a way that's tangible in earth. Now, her characteristics are of receptiveness, which I see here with these apples, which come from this tree of creativity. And this color of Venus, your planet around you, that is the green. And this sash, which is going through here, I think that really speaks of understanding and wisdom. Now, you do realize, don't you, that the beauty that you see in others, which attracts you to them, is a beauty that you carry within yourself. Now, for ladies here, you are in the process of unfolding and evolving your femininity. I think you should ask yourself, is there an ideal woman that I would like to mold myself upon? But say to yourself, I am filled with power and beauty. This tree keeps speaking out to me for some reason, some language. That's maybe the best thing for me to do is to tell you a story about trees. That will get, I think, the message across. You see, for me, trees have always been the best teachers. Now, I love them when they live in tribes and families, in forests or in groves, and even more so, I love them when they stand alone. They're like lonely persons, but they're not like hermits who have stolen away out of some weakness, but rather like great solitary men, like Julius Caesar or Napoleon Bonaparte. Now, in their highest branches and boughs, the world's, with all of its ups and downs, its pains and joys, rustles, and their roots, well, they rest in infinity. But they do not lose themselves there. They struggle with all of their force of their lives for one thing only: to fulfill themselves according to their own laws, to build up their own form, to represent themselves. Nothing is more sacred than a beautiful, strong tree. You see, when a tree is cut down and reveals its naked death wound to the sun, then you can read its whole history in the disc of its trunk, can't you? In that inscribed disc that's there in the trunk, in the rings of its years. You see, its scars, all the struggle, all the suffering, all the sickness, but as well all the happiness and prosperity. They all stand truly written. The narrow years and the luxurious years, the attacks withstood and the storms endured. Do you know, a tree says a kernel is hidden in me, a spark, a thought. I am life from eternal life. The attempt and the risk that the eternal mother took with me, it is unique. Unique in the form and in the veins of my skin, unique in the smallest play of leaves in my branches, and in the smallest scars on my bark. I was made to form and to reveal the eternal in my smallest special detail. You know, sometimes in our lives we can get overwhelmed and we think that we can't bear our lives any longer. Well, then a tree has something to say to us. It says, be still, look at me. Life is not easy. Life is not difficult. Those are childish thoughts. Let God speak within you, and your thoughts will grow silent. You are anxious because your path leads away from mother and home. But every step and every day lead you back again to the mother. And home is neither here nor there. Home is within you, or home is nowhere at all. Now, very quickly now with the devil, this is a very ambitious card. It is Saturn in Capricorn. And what this is, I'm just aware of your time, you see. And what it's saying here is that there's a lot of procreative energy here. So fertility again, a new vitality. You are just going to be very sexually attractive to people. You might find someone else very attractive, whether or not you do act upon it. A lot of sexuality around here, creative energy. You'll be irresistibly strong, you know, here. And I think what we see here is that because you have Capricorn here, well, Capricorns, I think that this is implying that you can accomplish a lot if you are focused and dedicated, because this devil here doesn't get distracted by anything at all. Rather, it fixes its mind, like Capricorn, which is really a good sign of business and career and worldly success and social standing. They're very goal-oriented and ambitious. So you will find success when you are goal-oriented and put things together to make them happen. Do check for anything that you might be overdoing, such as alcohol or eating if you do, and accept that you do have an ambitious side. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't become a slave to it. You'll have a strong desire to compete, to improve, and to win. But do say this to yourself: now is the time that I am the captain of my ship, and I sail to abundance and glory. Great spread of cards to you, and you were great. Well done, you. You did a great job. What a great reading for you. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I thought, and these cards are gorgeous, I think, in a way, but you know, I'm no artist, but they just appeal to me. Now, unless I see you privately for a clairvoyant reading or for a healing in the meantime, then I'll see you here again this time next month. And until then, though, remember one thing, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.